Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another broadcast here on Rio Sports Live and on the Stars Network, powered by RSL. We're coming to you from Canales Field in Brownsville. It's St. Joseph Bloodhounds on the Bloodhound Channel on our Stars Network. I'm Joe Bowling, Kevin Naro, Ruben Rodriguez all joining me here. We've got the JV coming on the field first, and what should be a good, exciting night for football, fellas. Scrimmage number 2, real games underway next week.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. Finally, the long-awaited road to Friday night. We're on the home stretch. Can't wait to see the Bloodhounds here. They're going against Bronzo Vets and Bronzo Porter, excuse me. They're going to have a really tough district in 15 5A Division 2, but St. Joe ready to go, and I think it's going to be a good season. Nice little hurrah before we bring in the new year.
Porter will be in the white with the blue trim. The St. Joe Bloodhounds will be in the red. This is JV action as we pick up a little bonus coverage for you here at Canales Field. We're testing out multiple cameras, and so we'll have some neat views for you as we continue to cover the games here. St. Joseph will have the ball first down, and they'll be given 10 plays on the offensive end if the drive is sustained for 10 consecutive plays. First down play, and they'll look to run to the right-hand side and break it to the outside and down the sidelines. A big gain on the first scrimmage play of the night for the Bloodhounds. And what a play there, guys.
That's I think that's Andre Cristiano. A few of these guys that are playing on the JV might be suiting out on the varsity. And if there's less than a handful of them, Andre might be one of those guys.
We were given no rosters for this, and so we're as blind as anyone as far as who's on the field. We just know St. Joe's in the red with the white trim, and Porter is in the white and blue as the Bloodhounds set it up on a second play on the scrimmage. It's first down and 1st and 10. They'll look to throw again off the read. This time it's covered by the Porter Cowboys. 10 plays on offense for St. Joseph, 10 plays for Porter, and those are drives starting at their respective -35. And then what we'll do is we'll bring the teams back out. They'll be allowed 10 plays from their -40. And if time allows, they'll be allowed 10 plays from the midfield stripe as well. They're going to cap this off at 40 minutes on the JV side. St. Joseph on second down. They'll look to throw for a first time. Swing it out in the flats. It's caught. Receiver tries to make a man miss. Gets some extra yards after the catch. Good effort that time by the St. Joe receiver.
Open pass here, like some good coverage on that reception. Managed to break away for a few extra yards and wasn't going down without a fight, and he finally rolled him down a few yards ahead, I believe at about the 17, 18-yard line.
Kevin, you got to see St. Joe last week. I know you were involved in getting ready for your broadcast. But one thing about it, the difference maker in St. Joe early on in this season is the numbers that allow them to have a legitimate JV scrimmage period. That wasn't the case last year.
Or the last few years, that for that matter, their numbers had been down these last few years. And I think it was Luigi Cristiano's, I think it was his sophomore year when I was still at the paper and I came in and saw a practice. And Tino had warned me. He said, we're short on guys, and I didn't believe him. I thought he was just joking because it's St. Joe football. And then I get here, and I see the practice, and I said, Tino, where's everybody else? He said, Kevin, this is it. This is everybody. So their numbers were up. That was the first thing I saw with practice. Well, really it started last spring. Last spring when I came out, I saw the uptick in numbers. That just goes with the territory of everything's back to normal. Kids are coming back out to school. People are getting back involved in athletics. And although you are seeing the effects of a no off season, you're seeing the effects of not having a JV season, some of these junior high kids that are coming into the high school ranks, remember that they didn't have a 6th, 7th grade year. That has a lot to do with their production as a 12, 13-year-old boy, right? They're young boys. They're 12, 13 years old. So you saw that effects, especially here, with St. Joe, with them being that they're a private school. So these last year was imperative. This year the same, and but they do have their numbers are up and their size. They do have a lot of size, and it's been a minute since St. Joe has had those two things.
Pass play out in the flats. Receiver catches it, takes it down near the goal line. Is nearly in. They'll rule him just out. But first and goal coming up for St. Joe. Nice, impressive drive to start this 10-play drive from their own 35-yard line. Kevin, they made it look rather easy.
Well, they're getting the ball to Andre, and I can just tell by the way he runs. And you can just tell, Joe, that his body is built different from a majority of these boys on the field. And talking with his older brother, Luigi, at last week's scrimmage, which he should be at UT by now. What's today, Thursday?
Yes.
I think today or tomorrow was his moving day.
Yeah, I was talking to his dad, and they are – he's like, I can't believe it, but I'm really moving him in. Here's a running play. This time the Porter Cowboys are able to make a play. And a good defensive stand here. A good test here for the JV squad for Porter. Their numbers, Kevin, they told us they were down. I don't think that's down as I look across the way when already on the sideline and then the JV team on the field.
I could be wrong, but what they could be doing is, because there's no freshman squad for St. Joe, they might have their freshman and JV put together. That's a possibility, because I don't think that's a lot of boys for a JV squad. But we'll touch more on Porter later, but they did move down to D2 with this last realignment.
Bloodhounds on this play, looking to punch it in the end zone. They'll run it off the read up the middle, driving forward. That will not get in. And it brings up 3rd down and goal for St. Joe. They were allowed 10 plays off a scrimmage. We're getting near that. But again, it's a good test, a good drive, and I'm going to say something else good. Good for the cloud that just came over the sun. It's a bright, sunny day here at Canales Field. Ruben was looking for sunblock from anybody that had it.
Can't afford to get tan, Joe.
Tan's one thing, burned is another.
I'll take a tan over a burn any day.
On a 3rd down play, the Bloodhounds will drive. That's in the end zone for a touchdown, and they will score on the opening drive. And what a nice drive that time for St. Joe. Take a look at our Josh Moody replay screen. You'll see it off the right tackle. And in the end zone, all replays brought to you by Josh Moody Loans here on Rio Sports Live.
That was Ian Meyer who scored that touchdown. One of the bright young stars. Like I said, there's a few of these boys that could possibly be suiting up on a Friday night. Ian's one of those guys. His dad, Klaus, around here somewhere. He's going to be an incoming freshman this year. But, Ian's an interesting piece to Tino's puzzle because plays a really good linebacker position, and with the JV, he can play both linebacker and running back, but certainly looks pretty good.
That'll give the ball to the Porter Cowboys, and Porter will have their offense on the field for the first time. St. Joe next week will be right here at home on the varsity level, and they'll be taking on Lopez, and we're broadcasting from a different spot than we normally have been set up here at St. Joe at Canales Field. And next week it'll be an elevated spot. Can't wait to see the float that they're bringing out here at the Real Sports Live Broadcast Center.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and how we've grown together with St. Joe. And the only thing I hope it doesn't rain. Last year, the Austin Brentwood game, we spent maybe about 4 hours stuck in the clubhouse. A torrential downpour.
Cowboys first down play. This is Porter's first time on the field with the offense. And they'll run the ball off the right side. Big hit delivered there. They'll blow the whistles dead pretty quick after contact. And again, Ruben, you're looking to just build some confidence on some players that may be carrying a football for the first time in any competition beyond the middle school.
Yeah, you go back to what Kevin said earlier about some of these younger guys having less than experience due to a cut short season, like the missing maybe dark. So again, Joe, some of these guys, it's their first touches on the ball and kind of gain confidence, trying to gain trust in your teammates and your blockers, and just build that chemistry that can carry on to the varsity level in the coming years.
We've got a full rundown of games next week on Rio Sports Live, and we'll get to that as we get to the varsity action a little bit later on. Right now it's JV action with St. Joe on our Stars Network. They have their own channel, and so even their JV squads will have presentations of game coverage on Rio Sports Live. That's what the difference is in the Stars Network versus the traditional broadcasting that's been done. was able to talk to people earlier this week and kind of define it, that when it started, and I'm talking it as in Rio Sports Live, it started as a broadcast company. We wanted to broadcast the biggest and best games that we could find out there. Thanks to COVID, we turned into a streaming company, and now we're gearing back into the lines of more of a broadcast company in which we can power a network of channels. Tonight's game on the Bloodhound Channel on the Stars Network. And for those of you unfamiliar, that's right now on our website. If you go to our main page on the website, you'll see the tab for the Stars Network. Click on there. You'll either see the primary channel or the ability to click onto the St. Joe, the Bloodhound Channel. And eventually we'll be adding more and more schools to the network of channels on Rio Sports Live. We got 2 cameras. We got a third camera if we can ever get a hold of Jammer and have him come back across the field. He's on a wireless, and right now he's out of range, so we'll have his camera on as well. Bert Ruiz running that camera that you see right now up there at the top side. On the visitor side, there's a penalty flag going to be thrown on that.
Joe, you know who this guy is here at the 20?
Who's that?
It's Liam Longoria.
Oh, okay. Back to help with the
Yeah,
team.
he played for David Cantu and Brownsville Veterans. He joined the coaching staff last year, and I said he looks familiar, and I said, is that Liam Longoria? He said, yeah, it's me. I was like, he just jumped into coaching just down the street at BVM. Oh, does pretty good, I'd say, as a former player. And he just graduated, I think, 2-3 years ago maybe, so he can still relate to a lot of these varsity guys. So he's, one of those players, coaches kind of guy, and some fresh blood that, Tino has on his staff.
There's a penalty against St. Joe, so that'll march him back 15 yards. The clock is running, but it's only a time clock prior to the varsity action beginning. These JV kids able to get out here, get some reps. St. Joseph scored on their possession. The Porter offense on the field. This is the JV squads. Low snap, but a good job by the quarterback. Now he's going to tuck and run to the outside and strung out of bounds, hit out of bounds. And the officials, too, are getting in their reps, getting ready for the regular season. They're out here on the scrimmages.
Yeah, everyone's shaking the rust off after a very lengthy off season. Go back to St. plays. They made it work, and they quickly went to work, and now Brownsville Porter looking to do the same on their first defensive side.
St. Joe took it at their own 35-yard line and promptly marched it right downfield and punched it in the end zone for the score. Porter trying to respond. They have the ball at their own 40. Next time they're on the field, each team will start at their own 40-yard line, so this would be penalty flag on the play. We'll take a look at that. Our coverage coming to you here at Canales Field in St. Joseph, or in Brownsville at St. Joseph, the home of the Fighting Bloodhounds, where it all started on Rio Sports Live with the first broadcast back in 2017 on an October night when Dahlia and I came out here and said, hey, I think we can get this done.
Moving the Porter Cowboys back. It was a call against Brownsville Porter's offense. Let's see what that was about.
Again, they're using the down and distance markers. They're not utilizing the clock as far as managing. Taking a look at the way the scrimmage runs, it'll be this controlled scrimmage environment for the JV. Same thing for the varsity for the first portion of the scrimmage, and then the varsity will take the field for 2 live quarters to wrap it up. And we found out last week that if coaches agree on both sides, sometimes that can be extended into even as much as another quarter. Thank you, Frank Cantu and Tino, last week at Raymondville, Kevin.
Yeah, I had 2 different, call it an itinerary. And to Frank's credit, he did say that it could change in case the 2 got frisky, which they did, because we did the 2 live quarters, and then they both decided, well, let's play 1 full quarter where it's just straight up. That kind of threw us for a surprise, but like you say, it was bonus coverage, and it was 1 true live quarter.
Tonight's live quarters will have the running clock, so it won't be like a traditional Friday night or Thursday or Saturday. We're talking to the JV squads. Pass play for the Cowboys. That's up in the air a long time. It's caught. Allowed the defenders to get there in a hurry and cover that play up.
The ball ran into some wind. Took a while for it to come down. A little bit of a choppy pass, too. Moves the ball up here for the Porter Cowboys.
But I want to know if that wind's blowing. Why isn't it blowing on us? Because it is a hot, hot afternoon, early evening here at Canales Field. See the St. Joe defense on that side. Good camera work by Bert Ruiz. And another penalty marched off against the Cowboys. They'll get one more play here, and then they don't get a first down out of this. And St. Joe will take over for the second time for their offense on the field.
Yeah, throughout this opening drive for the Porter Cowboys, penalties have been plaguing this squad. So they got one more chance to move it back up.
His camera's dead. He needs to come all the way back over here and realign his camera. This is Jim. Cowboys on another play. They call it 1st and 10, so there was a penalty against St. Joe before that. Good misdirection that time, changing speeds, and again the whistle blows rather quickly here on these scrimmages.
Trying to keep everyone healthy for the long oncoming season. Quickly changed direction. I think he was going to go to his left and went to his right. A zigzag through that St. Joe Bloodhound defense.
Rudy Zamaripa Jr. over there on that camera. He too is not in love with the sunshine or the heat. We'll be dealing with that until the time change.
Sun-soaked Thursday afternoon here in Canales Field.
Another play for the Porter Cowboys.
Snap bobbled by the quarterback. Really blowing the play dead.
Porter after that run. Now they call it 3rd down, so even the chain gang is getting their reps in. There's a pick on the defensive side for the Bloodhounds.
Very lengthy drive capped off by interception by St. Joe. And they went to the end zone their last drive. Look to repeat the same. On this second drive, they're starting off at the 40, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, they'll go back to the 40. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is scrimmage action. Porter and St. Joseph. Canales Field in Brownsville, Texas. On the Stars Network on the Bloodhound Channel and on YouTube and Facebook on Rio Sports Live.
The most important moments in a child's life happen in their earliest years. Having a strong early childhood education enhances their future and success. That's why we are opening the Harlingen CISD Early Childhood Academy for pre-K students. At HCISD, we provide these opportunities for our youngest learners to foster their imagination and let their curiosity run while they develop their love for learning. These are the early steps to success, and Harlingen CISD is with them every step of the way.
We are Edinburgh Gala and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Sherryland ISD, a nationally recognized district.
Back here on Rio Sports Live and back to action for the St. Joe JV on the team for a second time, and a good pass play will get a first down. I said it during Midnight Madness that what impressed me most about St. Joseph from the midnight practice moving forward, and you can still see it, quarterbacks and receivers appear to be much more on target, Kevin, launching deeper patterns and running better routes early on in the season.
Yeah, they are definitely a full 2 steps ahead from where they were at this point last year. It was just about a train wreck as one could be last year.
Another nice block on the outside. It's a foot race down the sideline, and they're not going to catch him today. Another touchdown for the Bloodhounds.
Once again, Joe, you said they got 10 drives, and St. Joe won't waste any other time. A huge drive down to left field and just turned on the Jets, and once he took off, it was all gas, no brakes, and St. Joe tacks on another one on the board.
2 drives, 2 scores for Brownsville St. Joseph. Again, a good showing here, and now they'll bring the ball back, and as again, each team's offense is allowed 10 plays from scrimmage.
But yeah, the skills, they're so much ahead of the game because one thing is that they only lost Nick Jackson and Luigi to graduation last year. Other than that, everyone's back. Everyone's a step ahead of the curve. And the quarterback play, it's going to be a plug-in-and-play senior. It's Ethan Gallegos. You know, we'll talk more about him later. But yeah, they were running plays. They were in and out. The ones were running their plays, and then the twos were shuffling in and out. So definitely off to a good start. Because last year it was just Tino had the pieces of the puzzle. It was just a matter of putting it together and how soon could he put it together. And from what we saw in their practices last year, what we saw in week 1 against PI, which Tino likes to easily forget about that one. I think we all do, especially if you're a St. Joe fan. But yeah, from where they were to where their season ended last year against Second Baptist, definitely a successful season for these guys.
The running play, and this time running through a tackle and then getting wrapped up.
Who, by the way, went on to win state last year at Second Baptist. That was a first-round matchup for St. Joe in the TAPS playoffs.
And again, by mid-season last year, I'm not sure that anyone other than Tino Villarreal was saying we're going to make the playoffs. And they did last year.
Well, you do the numbers. You look at your schedule and you see the Hyde Parks, the Bernie Genevas, the JP2s, and you say, okay, these are the games we can win. If we can get to 4 wins, if we can get to maybe 5 wins, they can be in. In other words, win the ones you're supposed to, and then just play hard in the games that when you get the St. Anthony's and the Austin Regents, especially when you have to go to Austin to play those guys. But, you know, there was a stretch of COVID last year with this team in the middle of the year. There was a rash of injuries. So, you know, there was some practices where I would come out and there was maybe but 3 coaches and 20 guys, and they had a game that weekend. So there was a rough patch last year for St. Joe, but they figured it out towards the end. Everyone got healthy, and you saw it in that JP2 game.
Have a 3rd down here. Need to get a 1st down to keep this drive alive, and that will be accomplished there. The ball comes out late, but the whistle already blown.
Bloodhounds in 2021 going 5-6 overall, 4-3 in district, finished in 3rd in their district. You know, keep on saying we're going to make the playoffs, and they did. And of course, fell to Houston Second Baptist 48-7 in the opening round.
He did, and he's about as good a coach as any, Kevin, at really breaking his schedule down and saying, okay, we may take it on the chin here, but if we get to here, if we do this against this team, he did. He literally broke that down last year to perfection.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. You just go back and you just do the numbers, and you see. I said you need 4 or 5 wins, and they got 4, and that was just enough to get in. And you know, this year it's a new look district this year, but they did what they were supposed to do. They figured it out. They had the senior leadership with Nick and Luigi and Marcielo Masso, and you know they had the guys in place.
Bloodhounds on a running play and gets shut down in a hurry. This is the JV portion. This is the 2nd time on the field for the Bloodhound offense. They'll get 1 more time on the field. They'll start a drive at the midfield stripe. Then they'll take a design break for the varsity to come onto the field and have a, I don't want to say warm up. If you can't get warmed up in this temperature with this sun, you're not going to ever get warmed up. But they'll get stretched out and ready to go for the varsity action. I'm excited to see St. Joseph. They're what you would call in full tilt.
Yeah,
El
I like
Poso's
to.
back tonight.
DP, man, we talked about him last week, and the fact that he's back. I didn't get to see him last week, but he grew a few inches. He's a healthy 6', 6'1", added some weight, and man, JP Vidauri, you'll see him. he slimmed out a lot. He gained so much muscle. Um, you know, thankfully for him, he was able to shake off his collarbone injury. And then that was another thing too, is they lose one of their best running backs last year in the Austin Brentwood game with a broken collarbone, right there, right at the 20. The fact that he's back and healthy.
There's a completed pass, or picked off pass. They'll take that in. For the Porter Cowboys. Man, I'm telling you now, that's one of those. The guy's wearing a red shirt, guys. And that pass was right into the middle.
Well, don't ask me a question with colors in it. I mean, I can see the red and white, but
yeah, Porter's got one man back there in the secondary that's got a red shirt, and Ruben, you can see that clear as day. That pass went right to him.
At first, I thought it was a throw to a St. Joe receiver was just looking back. Then I saw him take off the other way. Oh no, that's a Porter Cowboy.
So Porter scores on the pick. They aren't blowing the plays dead on a turnover tonight, whether it's the JV or whether it's the varsity action.
What I was going to say was before the Del Pozo discussion that I like to call this the dress rehearsal, which is equivalent to the third preseason game in the NFL. These days, I think it's the second preseason game, but expect them to turn it up a notch.
We'll see. May not see the exact formations, but we're going to see some plays that are going to be run on Friday night next week.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up because the other day we had Kanisha Martinez from Sherryland join us on the broadcast, and we were talking about the Pound Fest, just how stacked that tournament was, and the fact that half or more than about half of 31-5A was there. And I said, Kanisha, you want to win these games, but at the same time, you don't want to empty out the kitchen sink, and there is a fine line. So we'll see some things that St. Joe would want to work on, and obviously they're not going to show too much.
They'll take the sidelines, and we'll be back. St. Joe offense has a couple plays left. We'll take a quick break. This is Real Sports Live.
Rigorous instruction where every child is immersed in a culture of academic success. A district dedicated to preparing our youth for the future. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower all students to reach their full potential and become leaders of the highest moral character. Sherryland ISD, excellence is our tradition.
We are La Via, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Uniforms, etc., you're going to find the opportunity to purchase the best high-quality scrubs. Soon after I learned about how the EDC was helping out the community, and so I did meet with Ms. Castillo. She made it very easy, very friendly, and she walked me every step of the way. I couldn't have done it without their help.
Come visit our new store in downtown Harlingen. We have furniture, appliances, clothes, collectibles, and more. All funds collected support the Sunny Glen Children's Home. Come see us at Vintage on...
Back here on our scrimmage coverage, and a high snap as the Bloodhounds snap the ball over the quarterback's hands, and they'll blow that play dead.
That's Andrew Soto. He probably has a roster for us. Let me take that.
Sounds good. Coverage here from Canales Field. We'll be under bright sunlight until probably midway through the varsity scrimmage at the very least, as this one's just wide out in the open. Jammer Ruiz on one of the cameras, Rudy Zamaripa Jr. testing out one of the cameras. And Bert Ruiz up there on the main camera.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it either way.
Okay, looking at this JV Bloodhound squad, add to further what Kevin said about These guys, they might be getting some varsity touches this year, and it shows, and they're showing why on this field right now.
Porter offense on the field. They'll get it to the outside, gain some good yardage that time. Good strong running by the Cowboys.
The Cowboys last year, despite going 2-8 overall, 1A in district, they had to deal with the loss. They lost Alejandro Stevens in week 1, the last scrimmage before the regular season opened up, and then they got him back in Battle Southmost, and they got a huge win. Now I'm much to win. Unfortunately, they didn't make the postseason, but that's what they relied on. They relied on that ground and pound offense. Looking on the varsity side, I don't know if it was the same concept on JV. Yeah, that Porter Cowboy offense could just wear and tear on the field.
Ruben had the call on most games at Sam Stadium last year, so you got to see Porter in every one of their home games at the very least. They'll run it this time at a little room there. Then it's shut down. A big hit delivered by the St. Joe Bloodhounds. Crowd, it's not a big crowd on hand. It wasn't expected for a scrimmage. It never is, especially when the JV starts this early. But again, on the St. Joe Bloodhound Channel on our Stars Network, again, if you go to our website, click on the link to the Stars Network, and then either watch the primary channel or watch the St. Joe channel, in this case, the Bloodhound Channel. For live coverage, you'll see additional schools popping up there. But right now, the Bloodhound Channel is front and center with live coverage. Once this game concludes, we will go back to pre-recorded content. It's a good run again by the Cowboys, who are now moving the football up against this St. Joe team.
Getting that constant ground and pound. Held off here by this Alonzo Porter offense.
If you're keeping track of scores on our scoreboard, it's 2 scores for St. Joe, both of those utilizing the offense. There was a pick 6 by the defense.
Yeah, and you know, because it's a scrimmage, we can talk about it. I never understood that, Joe, the 1 point, the 2 point. And I'm not going to lie, when I would cover them as a writer, I never kept track. Because they'd say, well, who won the controlled? And I'm like, that was photo time.
Yep.
Art time. My notes and my story mainly came from the live quarters.
Yes.
Not too much you can, I mean, if there's a position battle that you know of going in, and if that's your lead, then you can take something from it. But I just never really kept track of the one. I'm just never really kept track.
Yeah.
Did you, or?
I didn't until fans started really chiming in when we were covering anything. In this case, we're covering a broadcast, and then they were like after the game, well, we won that controlled scrimmage 4-2.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they keep track of it.
Oh, they do. They
So-
do, and yeah, they even depending on who you talk to as a coach, they'll say, oh, we won that controlled part.
Yep.
But we lost the live quarter, but they keep track.
They'll break it down, and
They
so
will.
if we got a scoreboard on the thing, I might as well throw it up there. The scores you see is 2-1, which would never happen in a regular football game, friends. We know this.
Yeah.
It's 2 scores to 1 score in the control portion of the JV scrimmage here as we continue to cover St. Joe taking on Porter. Another thing that's happening here is that the coaches that are directing the show here on both sides are primarily the coaching staff. Tino, and he's here, but he's not necessarily calling any plays or he's geared up. He's in game mode for the varsity scrimmage for St. Joe. The running play, and again, Porter has found something on the ground. It's not giant yards, but it's good solid yards on the ground carrying the football.
Look who's here. It's Big Lou. He hasn't moved in just yet.
Where's he at?
He's right there with Austin.
Oh, okay.
Starkey and his pops.
Yeah, I think they leave in the morning. I really do.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember it being sometime later this week. But going back to Big Lou, and when we were watching Andre, and I think I told you, I said his brothers don't lie, and Luigi was like Andre's ready, varsity ready right now. So for your brother to say that, he's being honest. He's not gonna lie about those things.
We back it up in the Porter Cowboys on their offensive end. will have the ball on this first down play. That pass is out and caught. Nice catch out there by the Porter Cowboys.
Fully extend for that one. Not an easy play to make the grab and at the same time try to land in bounds. When you're able to do both, that's outstanding. That shows you the poise and talent you have as a receiver. Gotta have that accurate ability to try to do both things at once.
You know, it's not too often, Joe, you see JV or freshman ball. They throw the ball deep. It's kind of a lot like junior high football. Toss left, toss right, 61 slant, 62 slant, 61 fade, 60 fade, and that's it. That's the playbook.
Maybe a bubble screen every once in a while.
Maybe if you're, yeah.
Tailback does a nice job of splitting through some tacklers and into the secondary. A biggest gain for Porter off scrimmage in this scrimmage thus far.
Porter continuing to rely on that ground and pound attack. Again, fun fact, the majority of their touchdowns from last season at Sam's were a lot of running play, a lot of ground plays with the occasional passes here and there to the end zone.
Back here, ready to go with another play for the Cowboys. Now sling that play over the right side, caught. Trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. They'll get that done. That's what you look for in these scrimmages as well. Ruben Rodriguez is the extra effort by players.
Yeah, a lot of these guys on this JV squad, these JV rosters not set in stone quite yet, so some of these guys still trying to work their way up to the varsity level to play on the Friday night games. But some of these guys are really using this last scrimmage as a chance to, hey, let me give these coaches some looks. This is what I got. This is what I can bring to the table on the varsity squad. Just give me a chance type thing. And some of these guys are really improving with some big plays for either side. Receivers lined up on the right-hand side, one on the left for the Porter Cowboys. It's a handoff down the middle, going to get brought down to it about the 14, 13-yard line, and Porter continuing to rely on that ground offense.
Play again, a good response by Porter. They were shut down the first time on the field, but since then have done a nice job of moving that ball downfield.
Defensive changes here for St. Joe. We're now down at about the 13-yard line. Pass
Down the corner, incomplete.
Good pass coverage there by St. Joe. Trying to find a score coming in. Getting they're solely on about 2 scores and nothing.
To 1, 2-1. They scored on a pick 6.
Oh,
they haven't put that up, but it was a pick 6.
I love it. You know, Coach Starkey is as good as they come.
Oh yeah.
He just says, hey, Liam, your DB just got burned. Get your butt over here.
Time out on the field. We'll be back with some more snaps. JV action continues here on Real Sports Live.
Jackson in Harlingen.
I love what I do. I really
love what
do.
I'm doing. I love children.
One of the most important things to do is to love your students.
Imagine teachers like these helping your child prepare to change the world. Take a closer look at Mission CISD.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles, how about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We are La Villa, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Whether you're visiting or vacationing at South Padre Island, be sure to book your place to stay with Island Services. Locally owned for over 40 years. Trusted, reliable for condo and beach house rentals. Call and visit the website today. Island Services.
Back here, an incomplete pass by the St. Joe Bloodhounds. This should be the final time that the Bloodhound offense is on the field. These coaches were at first worried they weren't going to get all the snaps in that they had hoped. But once they do, they'll get greedy. They know they've got time on the clock before they reset this for the varsity. And so they'll take full advantage of opportunities to get some snaps and get players a look. One last look if they can.
Yeah, you can try some things that you normally wouldn't try in a game, but either way.
Run that on the sweep. Cowboys are there to shut that one down. And don't kid yourself, there's hard hitting out there. There are guys trying to earn spots, even on a JV portion of a scrimmage.
Oh yeah, some of these guys, not just on the St. Joe side, but some of these guys, these coaches write a circle around their name, and I think I was with Munguia. We were being realistic that injuries happen, and unfortunately, grades. And sometimes these varsity squads need to dip into their JV.
Next play for the Bloodhounds, a high snap. Good job of getting to that by the quarterback. They won't get the pass away as they are doing a good job of trying to protect these quarterbacks. We've seen it in the last couple of years, guys. Guys get injured in this final tune-up heading into the regular season, and coaches second-guess themselves for a long while if they can't get if they see somebody go down when it comes to this scrimmage. They want to play them, and yet they don't.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to make, but you got to play. You got to play, and you have to see what you have.
Of course, next Thursday it all starts for us on the regular season broadcast, and we get to head to Sam's Stadium for a good one right out of the gate, Kevin.
Yep, Pace and Sherryland. We're getting revved up for that one Thursday night. It's gonna be fun. Old Danny Pardo. See what he has up his sleeve. Well, Brownsville Pace was very good for a good stretch with the Jesty Bondas of the world, and Danny's done a good job there. It sounds cliche, but he really has. Porter had some really tough, or not Porter, but excuse me, Pace had some really tough years. But the fact that he got them back into the playoffs, and remember they went toe-to-toe with Miller that year. They just about darn beat him. This was Andrew Body's Miller Bucks you're talking about.
The junior year, yes.
Yes, his junior year, yeah. That was a cold, windy night in November. Mark and I were still at the paper, and I remember on the picket line I was the only one who picked Pace, and I just about looked like a genius when that game was almost said and done. But Pace is going to be exciting, and there's an upbeat in Sherryland this year. The volleyball team is extremely good, and the football team with the Gonzalez, the Cuates there, Alec and Alan. Those guys are those are Sherryland football players right there, and they remind me a lot of guys that Ron Adame would put together. You know Ron as well as I do. They're just blue-collar kids, and they happen to be twins too. So expecting a lot from Sherryland this year, and Coach Krell taking over for Ron, and it's not an easy thing to do.
They would fit in right into his programs. And again, the thing about Sherryland is you knew it was going to be a transition out of the Ron Adame era into, what is the coach, what is the staff, how does he cultivate the personalities that are coming in, and now we're finally seeing the real, true next generation of here's what Sherryland has to bring to the table, and it's not so bad this year to start it out.
Right, under Coach Krell, and also remember too is that they split Pioneer and Sherryland, so I believe this is Pioneer's, I want to say 7th year, more or less, but it takes a while. You said, well, it's been 7 years, yeah, but it takes a few years. You saw Sherryland on the they struggled with numbers because of the split. So you have the split, and then you have a new coach and a new system. So
a good running play that time by the Bloodhounds.
And in fact, you know, when I went to Sherryland last week at Richard Thompson Stadium, we ran the tests. Everything went well, but I was like, oh yeah, Richard Thompson. He's just newly the latest induction in the Hall of Fame. And of course, Ron Adame gave his introduction speech, rightfully so.
Well deserved, and none better than to be the one introducing the newest Hall of Famer. Another pass play completed by the St. Joe Bloodhounds. That's close to first down yardage. Again, these are controlled portions of the JV scrimmage between these two teams. This is the JV, and then we'll get to the varsity level. We'll have controlled play, and then we're looking forward to the 2 live quarters in which will be the final tune-up quarters against another opponent before next week's game. St. Joseph next week, right back here at home. And don't think Jason Starkey won't be excited for that one.
Oh, Kevin. Yeah, it's his former team. We called him the Lopez Miracle Man because, I mean, Brownsville Lopez football for a long time struggled. That's putting it gently. You know, Jason Starkey went in there and he made those guys winners, took them to the playoffs. Moral victories don't count, I know, but for you to go toe-to-toe with Landry Gilpin in the playoffs and have them on their toes, I mean, that's just blue collar. And, you know, we'll talk more about Coach Starkey later when we see the varsity. But, you know, Brownsville Lopez is under a new coach, Sean Tarantola. He's one of the up-and-coming minds when it comes to the offensive side of things. He was the offensive coordinator at Rowe for many years, and he's getting his first crack at being a head coach, and rightfully so. He had applied for a couple of different jobs in the past. The Vela job when it opened, Westlaco. But, you know, it's a different brand, Joe, from being at McAllen Row to Brownsville Lopez. From the community, from the players, to the athletes, just the environment, and it's a change. It's a change because it's, you know, it's different. And Brownsville is different from McAllen. Edinburgh's different from Harlingen, and it's an hour away, but it's different. You know, the kids are different styles, different brands.
Same energy across the board. That's what the Rio Grande Valley brings. If nothing else, they bring a ton of energy when it comes to high school football.
Yeah, the energy and the passion is what a lot of people, you know, up north. And when I say up north, I don't mean San Antonio. I mean Houston, Dallas, out west, and El Paso. You know, they give the Valley their props when it comes to that hustle. But, yeah, no, excited to see what Coach Tarantola can do. And, you know, it's his head coaching debut just down the street.
And they're already saying they've been asked to bring additional seating here at Canales Field for the crowd that's coming. And
from Lopez?
From Lopez. They've asked for additional seating. They've asked for seating on the track. And so they're bringing the band. It's going to be a good atmosphere here at Canales. I don't know that we'll see lights tonight because of the early start here, but if we do, you'll get your first look at the lights here at Canales Field. If not, next week I know we'll see them under the lights.
Yeah, you know, the lights in Raymondville were pretty slick, that LED look. And last week they they christened their new crib, so to speak. That's a good ball.
That's completed inside the 20-yard line, down to the 15.
Turf. They broke in their new turf down in Raymondville last week. So that brought the conversation up now that we're here. From what I understand, and I've yet to be corrected, and if I am wrong, please tell me, Canales Field, Rio Hondo, Port Isabel.
I think that's it. Grass Fields. That's all that's left.
That's all that's left at
Santa Rosa, MMA
Santa
also
Rosa.
Grass Field.
Okay, well, MMA, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Santa Rosa. There we go. You see, Marco and I couldn't figure it out. Santa Rosa was that one.
The St. Joe team plays at Santa Rosa week 2. Rudy's already chomping at the bit saying, hey, I'll go cover St. Joe for that one. Hey, excitement over at Santa Rosa this year. A new coach, new atmosphere.
Well, he's in his second year.
Right.
But to be fair, last year he was hired I want to say at about this time last year.
Right.
So yeah, you could call it his first true year. I mean, to put it this way, Mauricio had asked me if I wanted to coach the special teams. I politely declined. But you know, he was in a tough spot. And it is what it is. There's no secret. There was a dark cloud over Santa Rosa at that time, and you know they needed a new face.
No doubt about it. Mr. College himself coming over. Luigi Cristiano, we may visit with him in between the JV and varsity scrimmages if he has time.
He's got time. I'll get him over here.
Final day before he heads off to college.
Bats, I can imagine you as Kevin, you as a special teams coach.
No, it was it was something. It was special teams, or I forgot what it was. But
I can imagine Kevin being a
no.
coach.
Yeah, no, but
that would be a different change of environment.
Yeah. Although I do know some things that I would do beforehand, and I would provide rosters and everything the media would need. That's one thing I do know I would do. I would be that coach that would create the Twitter account.
Yep.
Put the stats out there. Send media guides out.
Yep, that's the part of our world. It's like if we were in charge.
Yes.
This is what we would do. Let's take a quick break. We'll go ahead and take the next play here. And you're watching our coverage here. It's bonus coverage from the JV portion of the scrimmage between St. Joe and Porter. We had volleyball coverage earlier today, and then switching gears over to the football side. More volleyball tomorrow. We should have crews in place at both venues. We're reaching the final portion of where guys are getting some last-minute stuff done before they kick into high gear. And but we'll definitely be there for a big portion of the coverage of those two tournaments, one in Brownsville and one in Mission. And we'll be there on the championship day. I know Rudy and I have already talked about splitting ways and finding ways to get camera operators in position. My wife Dahlia doesn't know it yet, but she may be a camera operator for one of those days. Appreciate her switching the gears back home on switching things on the server side to get us from the pre-recorded to the live, and then we'll go back to pre-recorded on the Bloodhound Channel on the Stars Network. Good escapability that time by the quarterback. They'll blow the play dead.
Imagine the battle that's going to be going on next Friday night, going back to have about Coach Tarantola taking over for Lopez. Lopez unfortunately not having the best of seasons in 2021, a winless 2021. Excited to see how he turns that new program around. Do have their hands full going up against a very tough St. Joe's ball club.
We'll be back after this.
Watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rod Rodriguez, and I'm a partner with New York Life Insurance Company. For 170 years, New York Life has built a reputation for building some of the finest agents in the industry. I help to manage that process from day one. If you're looking to challenge yourself and build an insurance and financial service business, then I would like to show you how I can help.
We're Los Retos Volleyball, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Woo! We're the Life for Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles, located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, is filled with vintage items, collectibles, and a selection of vinyl records that's as good as it gets. Every shelf, every aisle, and table is filled daily by a number of vendors that ensures that something here just might be the item you have to have. The vinyl record area helps bring an added atmosphere.
Back here on the broadcast, coming to you from Canales Field, there's a fumble on the play as the Porter offense back on the field. We're nearing 15 minutes before this JV portion of this scrimmage wraps up. More fans are arriving, and those that have been here, you can always tell when you're at Canales Field who's been to this field before, because in the home side, tons of umbrellas, because they know that sun is bearing straight down on them. If you're coming next week to the game and you're on the Bloodhound side, you make sure you bring some type of cover, because that sun, unless it's like last year when it rains, that sun's going to be in a position to not be your friend all night long.
Here and at Sam's and Flores.
Yes.
Good grief. I can't wait. Daylight savings cannot.
Yeah,
It's
Flores.
just staring right into the sun.
I think of all of them, Flores is the worst from what we've done because we're broadcasting in that heated. Dahlia and I were in there the first year, and it was 120 when we brought a window air conditioning unit out there and put it in. But it was 120 to start a broadcast. I was like, we can't stay in here. There's no way.
Remember a few games last year at Sam Stadium, having to look away half the time for the first quarter. I was squinting trying to see who was in because that sun is relentless.
Got blinds there, and I've been many a game where I just pull the blinds down and rely on the cameras to look at what I'm doing on the field. We've all done our share of games at Sam Stadium, Kevin, going back to the pre-Rio Sports days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were broadcasting down there.
Yeah. Those are some battles, and they don't do the double headers as much as they used to on Saturdays.
Nope, I didn't see. Matter of fact, I didn't see any that I can remember this year. There are some Saturday games at Sam Stadium on a regular basis. There's Thursday games.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing at Flores Stadium. There's games on Thursday, maybe a Saturday this year.
If anything, maybe one. But yeah, no, Sam's was good to us, and that's because we were man. That press box has changed. All that fancy stuff wasn't even in there. It was all jammed into that room when you walk into the far left.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's where we were in that smaller room, and then they moved us into that booth that we've been in for a long time. And what's unique about that booth is that the coaches are right next to you.
They are. and it's not that you can hear them on the air, but you want to hear what's going on, and the atmosphere from a coaching perspective, it's no secret from our vantage point.
I'll take you all to a quick funny story. Last year I was covering Bronzo. Week 2 was Bronzo Rivera taking on Edinburgh, and I knew that the coaching box was right next to us, and I was calling a play, and I was following a long QB run down to the house, and me focusing on the call, I hear a loud banging on the table that makes me jump. It was one of the coaches in the box going crazy, going excited, and it just freaked me out for a second. But yeah, but going back to that, you love to add it because you get to hear what's going on behind the scenes, in a sense, in the press box from the coach's vantage point.
That's tame compared to some of the things we've heard coming out of that press box, Kevin, in those coaching boxes.
Yeah.
Over at Sam Stadium. We'll be there on Thursday night, by the way. Again, our thanks to Gilbert Leal and the Brownsville School District. We met with them last week, and with the Porter volleyball team came and cornered me today. We're like, okay, what do we need to do? We need to have every Porter game on Real Sports Live, straight across the board.
Ashley, if you're listening, I already told you.
She came up and she's like, all right, here's the deal. How many sponsors you need? We want Porter on. And then the Pace coaches were walking by and looking up at her, and they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? She goes, and don't cover any Pace games. Don't cover any other Brownsville schools. It's just she's on it, Kevin. I'm telling you.
Yes. Ashley is on her A game, and last week at the Pound Fest, I said, well, get into the main gym, find a way to the main gym, and we'll get you. I promise, we'll get you. But she's, bless her heart, she is already put a bid in to host Media Day next year for volleyball. So I said, you know what, we haven't gone to Brownsville, so I'm going to take you up on that. And she goes out, Carlos will be cool with that. That's Coach Uresti. She goes, Coach Uresti will be cool with it. I'm like, all right, well, if you guys.
There you go.
It's like, oh, boy.
Well, she brought, you talk about bringing the A game of her presentation to me. She brought herself. She had baseball coaches. She had soccer coaches, all in her entourage saying, and we've got this coach, this coach, this coach. You tell us how many sponsors you need. And I'm telling you, from a guy that's out there talking every broadcast, we need sponsors, we need sponsors. That's music to my ears.
Now, Ashley Martinez. She's pretty fired up about her Porter Cowgirls.
We'll get to see them tomorrow. They're in a tough pool tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tonight they had Hannah in their pool. Tomorrow they have BVM in their pool. What I was impressed with today was going back to the volleyball coverage this morning down in Brownsville was a very young San Perlita squad that at times played well against Pace, and what was more impressive, at times played well against Rivera.
Oh, wow.
And,
How'd Summer Terry?
Not playing.
She didn't play?
Not playing. She's focusing on basketball and then later softball. And so it was a young squad of Lady Trojans.
Jasmine Rodriguez is back, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Couple basketballers.
Ruben got to call those games. Another play for the Cowboys as they march the ball down inside the 10-yard line.
Going back to the volleyball coverage today, again, that Bronzo Rivera team, you and I both know that's a very, very tough squad in 32 6A volleyball, and sounds at times where Sanford Lito was giving them a run for the money, putting them on the ropes. Again, a very young squad, and again, kudos to Jasmine Rodriguez, who class of 2022, she joined us on the broadcast for a bit, talked about some of her points. She actually got to coach the Summer League team at the Highway 83 for Sanford Lito, and she got to talk about her experience and just her excitement as she prepares to move on to UTSA today. She said she was pursuing a career in communications.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, her voice, her mannerism on the headset today was top notch.
Well, speaking of which, you just reminded me, she did not email me or you because at Career Day last year, she talked about wanting to major in communications. So I'm gonna have to get with Coach Munguia on that.
Yep, she sounded like a pro today.
Well, she reminded me of Maya.
Yes, yeah, and that's what I was thinking of. Is I was talking to her and her dad in the bleachers, and I was like, hey, when you come back, summertime, look us up.
That's what I told her this past summer, and now that you mentioned it, I just realized that she was all in for taking pictures, running a camera, anything. She was just fired up about jumping into the journalism world.
Border Cowboys trying to get in the end zone here.
Slowly working their way down the field again to continue that ground attack offense we've seen all game. We expected to see it all season long, a more refined version of that attack offense.
And the more they move the ball downfield, Kevin, they're in the red zone. The deeper they get in the red zone, the more vocal Jason Starkey becomes because he's the one defending that goal.
Yeah, and if he could, literally he would. I'm not joking. The Rook, as they once called him.
Rook like a chess piece?
No, a Rook as in rookie.
Oh.
The Rook. His family, avid watchers, listeners of Real Sports Live over in West Virginia. His parents in particular.
You always want that in a coach, a high level of competition. I don't know that you'll find higher. He matches anyone that I know.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I want to win.
Yes.
Period. I want to win first.
He walks in the room and he's there.
Yes.
Well, his wife, Larky, is a trainer here, and she says, Kevin, have you seen Jason? I said, I have not seen him, nor have I heard him.
Right.
Because he's a lot like the guy's voice can carry.
Yeah, it's like a sonar. You close your eyes, and I'll tell you if he's close.
Oh, yeah.
Inside the 5-yard line, inside the 10-yard line, that is, for this Cowboy team. Pressure, they blow that dead just before the pass gets away.
It's like having two head coaches on the staff for Tino himself and Jason Starkey.
They'll head to the sidelines. We'll take a break. JV's portion of the scrimmage may have just ended. We'll be right back.
Stepping back in time with the memories. Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles in San Benito.
When excellence in academics meets discovery on the court, in the arts, with institutions of higher education and beyond, we are the future leaders, and our success starts now. La Villa ISD, Cardinal Pride.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles, how about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you, Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
LEAD has relationships with multiple industry leaders. Whether you're looking for project-based work or long-term employment, you decide. Our industry-skilled jobs include industrial, marine industries, oil and gas, commercial construction, and renewable.
Back here on Rio Sports Live, that will conclude the JV portion of the scrimmage. Those on the Star Network, will invite you to rejoin us when we go live for the varsity action. You'll be there for us. Those that have been watching on our social media, watch for the stream to begin again as St. Joe and Porter will begin with varsity action. We'll be back scheduled to start at 7 o'clock, so